Hello and welcome to Storm Talk. Today we will be looking at Stukov, the Infested Admiral. So, let's get him into combat. First off, as you can see, his D is gray. I'm going to use that word in some awkward phrases in the next couple of seconds, so bear with me a little bit. So this is called Killswitch. It works with his Q and his W. So let's kind of show these off. Q, simple enough, is a heal. Heals over time, and it spreads. You can even cast it on yourself, and it will spread to somebody else. Next, we have Weighted Pulsate. Weighted Pulsate does damage when hit, or when it hits. It slows, and the slow increases as opposed to decreasing, which most slows do. And then when it ends, it hits for a pretty big number compared to the initial hit. Next, we have Lurking Arm. Simple enough. Channel it, drop it, it keeps going. You can actually keep this up pretty much forever as far as I can tell. Like, I think the game would actually AFK you well before the ability starts actually failing. So, to work with his Killswitch, let's go ahead and get people sick. We'll use Healing Pathogen, and then the Pulsate, and then we can detonate that. So for the healing, you can detonate it for a large heal off the top. And with the pathogen, you can detonate it for a large damage and a large slow. So 70% slow for 2 seconds is actually great. And then a lot of damage. So, let's go ahead and start looking at the stat card. Here's his stats for level 1.
Choose a talent. Choose a talent.
Level 10.
Choose a talent.
20.
Choose a talent. Choose a talent.
And 30.
Choose a talent.
One thing to note, he has a very high attack with a very slow attack animation. So as you can see, like that's 850 damage in one punch. However, since he is only attacking 0.67 times in a second, so that's what? 2 attacks in 3 seconds? I'm gonna feel really bad about that math in a minute, I'm sure. But yeah, so he's not attacking really fast. So hitting heavy isn't a problem. However, his first talent, Spine Launcher, changes that. He changes from a 1.5 attack range to a 5.5. It halves his damage, but does not increase the speed. It does, however, give him a 20% slow. This makes it a really nice ability if you're going in as a support. Next, we have the Fetid Touch. Hitting enemy heroes with your Pulsate, 20 of them reduces cooldown by 2.5 seconds. 40 of them reduces the cooldown by 2.5 seconds again, so 5 seconds in total, and removes the mana cost completely. Next, we have Growing Infestation. Lurking Arm expands 50% over 2.5 seconds. It gets bigger. It's good. It's not like sparkly diamonds amazing, but I mean it's solid. It's like throwing a brick at someone's head solid. I don't know where that comparison just came from. Popping Pulsates. Detonate 10 Pulsates without dying, and it becomes an AoE. The only problem with this is with that 10-second cooldown and that 16-second cooldown, you're working at a minimum of, if you're capable of popping one on time, that's, what, 3 minutes? So, it could, if you're getting hit hard, it can be hard to stay alive for 3 minutes. You're not exactly an amazing push or jump character. You do have a self-heal, but yeah. So if you're working as a support, if you have somebody to lane with, somebody you can trust, Spine Launcher's a nice way to go. That 20% half your damage hurts, but a 20% slow, max or added on with somebody else on your team being able to get in some critical hits and shit because they're slowed is good. Fetid Touch reduces them, like, you can do it 50% more often, so double the pulsates is nice. Reducing the mana costs, I mean, it's fucking 50 mana and a 10-second cooldown. You're gonna gain that back. I mean, yeah, you gain back 5 per second. 10 seconds, 50. There you go. Yeah, so then Growing Infestation is a nice solid one. It's what I'm actually going to go with right now. So next at level 4, we have One Good Spread. After healing pathogens infest 4 targets, remember it can only infest heroes. Restore 30 mana and reduce the cooldown of healing pathogens by 2 seconds. So, refunds all of the mana, reduces it by 2 seconds. Remember, it's spread 4 times at this point, so 4 seconds have already passed. Well, actually, like 3 seconds and 3 3/4 of a second, but we'll go with 4 seconds. Top off, healing pathogens heal over time on its initial target is increased by 50% when they are above 60. If you're using this on yourself or on a hero, this just benefits you to keep it up. If you're laning against a lot of physical damage, this one's pretty good. Biotic Armor. Healing Pathogens grants 50% physical armor to the initial target while it is active on them. And then increase Killswitch's heal. Detonate 50 healing pathogens and increase Killswitch's healing by 50%. Remember, Killswitch does the increased healing. At level 30, that's 16. 1600. So 50% onto that would turn it to 2400. Is that enough to really justify spending a minimum of 25 times popping it? I don't know. Top off is great if you're healing a tank because it just keeps you up on that tank. Biotic Armor is great if you're with like a support, or not a support, with a assault or character, like you're against people who are doing a ton of physical damage. If they're doing magical damage, this ain't gonna do shit. I don't like One Good Spread. The chances of it triggering are so minuscule, and its effect is so minor. Like if this infests 4 targets, or if this infests your whole team, reduce the cooldown to 0, so you get to use it again for free. That would be great, but it's not. So, yeah. All of these are basically numbered games, though. However, some mana back, some bonus heals, some armor, some bonus heals.
Choose a talent.
At level 7, the Long Pitch. Increase the range of weighted pulsates by 100. So this is how long it is, so increasing it by 100% put it to about here. Within my reach, increase Lurking Arms by 50%. So that's a pretty nice one. That's nice. It hungers. Each time an enemy hero is hit by Lurking Arm, reduce its cooldown by 0.5 seconds up to 6.5 seconds. And restore its mana by 5. Or restore your mana by 5. And Targeted Excision. Detonate exactly 1 weighted pulsate, but any number of healing pathogens with Killswitch, and reduce Killswitch's cooldown by 5 seconds. So, single target. This basically means if you're chasing somebody down single target, and you're doing that a lot, this is nice because it reduces the cooldown on your Killswitch, which can also be great if you're doing these other 2 Killswitch missions. However, in team fights, that's worthless. In group fights, that's worthless. In laning phase, it could be useful, probably not. I personally like Within My Reach and the Long Pitch. Their increased range So whichever one you like better is great. It Hungers could be useful for gaining back mana, but even with like the increased range, if I'm gonna go over here and let's say I don't want anybody to come out of this gate anymore. So now I've taken up that entire gate with my hand mouth. Let's throw out some minions. Like minions, yeah, they're just gonna walk straight through that. Heroes, on the other hand, hero ain't gonna touch that. Like, they're not gonna reliably walk through that, so you can't reliably get back mana or the cooldown from it. However, at that same thought, within my reach can be useful if you're trying to lock down an area. The same with the long pitch. It's really useful for trying to hit people with your W.
Choose a talent.
So as you can see here, so just like before, except now I'm not in range for those minions to come after me. So when those minions now meet my minions, well, they're mostly dead. We'll up the game speed just to kind of demonstrate this a little bit. And especially when my minions get them to stand on that spot for a couple of seconds. Yeah, they just got eaten.
Move quickly.
It does not, however, hurt buildings, so like that would just be amazing if that could actually damage the building, but alas, it can't. So next we have the heroic abilities. We're going to go with Flailing Swipe the first
Choose
time.
a talent.
So much potential unexplored.
So, Flailing Swipe,
I wish
you take 3 swings. Each swing is larger than the previous, so as you can see, the first, the third, the first, the second, and the third, and they push. I mean, I want to say it's nicer than that. Like, you can kind of get up and pound somebody into a wall, but it doesn't do a ton of damage. I mean, you punch harder. Like, it's kind of weird when you're like, yeah, you actually physically punch harder than your ultimate ability. But that's just kind of where we're at right now. Moving on. At level 13, Reactive Spores, whatever. When you take damage below 50%, instantly spread weighted postulates to all nearby enemy heroes, and reset the cooldown of Killswitch. This can happen every 10 seconds. I like this. Personally, it seems really good. It's one of those... it's a defensive talent. So I'd probably say you should never choose to take it off the bat. But it's a solid talent. Like, it's one of those really useful ones. But again, it is defensive, so I wouldn't say take this as your primary go-to. Next, we have Low Below. Lurking Arm deals 150% more damage to enemy heroes below 25% health. Only heroes, and again, we've already kind of discussed, they're not going to stand in it. It's mostly going to be used as, or to keep people out of an area, and to ward something. Lingering Spines, Lurking Arm persists for 1.5 seconds after it's cancelled. This is actually pretty nice. It lets it stay longer. And then detonating a weighted, virulent reaction. Detonating a weighted pulsate on an enemy who is inside of Lurking Arms roots them for 2 seconds. So, let's kind of demonstrate what has to go down for that to happen. So, Lurking Arms... that ends Lurking Arms. So, what we'd have to do is get them sick first, drop it on them, and then detonate it. very possible to do because, as you can see, Lurking Arms is almost instant, but still a little tricky. I like Lingering Spines.
Choose a talent.
It continues to grow. It has a nice effect. And it just kind of sits there for a couple of extra seconds. It doesn't do anything spectacularly amazing, but it does something solid. Moving on at level 16, Super Strain. Whenever an ally with Healing Pathogen is stunned, they are instantly healed for a bunch of health. This can be useful if you're against a team that's getting stunned a lot. However, it kind of loses its usefulness if you're not trying to pick somebody up who's being chased. You can't, like, yeah, it's like, oh, well, if they get stunned. Yeah, but being stunned isn't that big a deal if you're not losing. Universal Carrier. Healing pathogens can continually spread through Stukov, but its healing is reduced by 60%. This one's awkward because it reduces your healing, which is the only reason to have a healing spell. However, it does increase your healing. Yeah. Long story short, let's actually take this one real quick.
Talent.
Just to kind of demonstrate it. So, in theory, I could sit here. And actually, if I time it out right, I can Killswitch just as it's jumping between so that it still hits somebody else and then can spread, right? That seems great. The problem with that is it reduces healing by so much. I mean, let's just go over here and take some damage real quick. Like I was saying, it reduces healing by so much that in the time it takes to heal all this amount, I could just beat. Let's go ahead and reset the talents real quick.
Choose a talent.
Doesn't really matter what we take.
Choose a talent. Choose a talent. Choose a talent.
Okay, the next two, Pox Populi. Killswitch no longer removes the healing pathogen, instead refreshes it. Increased healing. Short, simple, to the point, increased healing. Eye Infection. Increase the final damage of weighted pulsates by 50%. Additionally, detonating a weighting pulsate blinds targets for 3 seconds. Slow, blind, bonus damage. Really comes down to, like, this is where it is, really, is these two abilities. Are you the team's healer, or are you a damage dealer? Like, you're a support either way, so are you a healing support, or are you a, what is the term, sapper support? Are you meant to fuck the enemy in the ass, or are you meant to give your teammates a hug? Literally, all this one it comes down to.
Choose a talent.
At level 20, first we have Controlled Chaos. Filling Slipe's mana cost is reduced from 100 to 50, and it gains 2 charges, meaning you can still use up that 100 mana. But it only swings 1 time at maximum range. So, let me put this in simple terms that even I can understand. Reduce damage by 1/3. Ultimate ability, reduce the fucking damage. Like, what the fuck? Level 20 abilities are supposed to be like, yeah, this makes this ult amazing. Like, we go from, yeah, I can snipe some fucker with Nova, and if then you go to level 20, if I kill the motherfucker, I get to shoot somebody again. You move on to some of the other ones. You got, like, Fucking, Sonya, you get the super jump. Like, I can jump on somebody. At level 20, when I jump on them, a ring appears around us and the motherfucker must fight me in a duel. Like hell. Like serious hell. Literally makes it worse. Next we have Bio Explosion Switch. Bio Kill Switch also detonates Lurking Arm and applies weighted pulsates to enemy heroes inside of it and silences them. So we're going to show this off because holy shit the other is so bad. Plain and simple. You can blow up your hand. It didn't work because you can't blow up, or you can't infect minions. So, blow up hand. It'd be nice, like, it sounds like it would be a great little thing to work with the, what level was that on? Violent Reaction. The detonate weighted pulsates on an enemy who's inside Lurking Arms. The problem is that that's a 16-second cooldown. So, yeah, it gets really weird there. It can be useful, but its use is very limited. Like, you get in, you get them sick, and then you do it, and oh, they're already sick again. But honestly, that's a very limited use. Let's go ahead and reset all that. Let's go ahead and take all these
choose a talent.
quests right here. We're not going to take that one because it's... Oh, fuck, we'll take that one. We only have one enemy. Next we have Massive Shove. Extend your arm.
Choose a talent.
And gain armor while shoving. So... Now, it doesn't quite work right because he's a bot, but... Or, I mean, he's a test dummy, but you just shove.
Step lively.
You can manually reposition your enemies. That's a pretty nice ability to have. Let's go ahead and let him reset. Come on, reset. Screw it. As I was saying, I got him stuck in a corner up there. If you hit an enemy target, you shove them until they collide with terrain. It's pretty solid, and it only has a 20-second cooldown, as opposed to the 80-second cooldown of Felling Swipe. Literally, this is the talent you should probably take always.
Choose a talent. Choose a talent.
At level 30, or level 20, sorry, the Storm version, Massive Shove travels 25% faster. 20%, yeah, 25% faster. It pushes a target more than 1.5 seconds. Its cooldown is reduced greatly. So, the small problem with that is the cooldown's reducing as you're using it. Or, like, the cooldown reduction requires that you... Wow, I am really bad at this. There we go. The cooldown reduction requires that you move him for 1.5 seconds. It also increases the speed. So that's going to be a little hard to do. Go ahead and select an enemy hero. We'll go with Arthas. Arthas is cool. Yeah, I just did Artanis. Okay, so let's go ahead and get him out here and turn off minions. We'll try to trigger him. We don't want him to fight this. So, first off, the moment it hits a wall, it's done. And since you can't reach past walls, you have to be really careful. It's also kind of a tricky skill shot to hit sometimes, because it is kind of thin for a skill shot of its usefulness. Comparing it... Well, let me push him one more time and see if I can... Nope. Yeah, see, even across that full lane right there, that's still not a 15 sec or enough to lower the cooldown. So let's see if we can get him actually through the gate. Only got him into our gate?
No hesitation.
And we'll push. Nope, hit the gate.
Moving out.
Luckily, he hits like a truck. Okay, we'll trigger minions again.
Move quickly.
So this time, toggle cooldowns off. We'll try to get him to follow. Okay then, if you just want to stay over here. So as you see, that time, I actually was able to get the cooldown to work. So, probably going to make a jump cut for that because that took way too much time.
Then you know something.
Anyway, probably spent a little too much time playing around with that, so let's go ahead and...
wish to be done with this.
I hope this was informative, and I hope you had fun. If you have any questions about how a talent works a little more in depth than what I've shown, feel free to drop a question in the comment section, and I'll be sure to look at it. Have a wonderful day, and bye.